Welcome to Windows Shortcuts. We will discuss the following: the ability to cut, copy, and paste, open Windows Explorer, show us your Windows desktop, save, select all, and toggle between open applications. Each of these items are achievable through the keyboard using keyboard shortcuts. Clearly, with this type of video presentation, I can't show you the keyboard shortcuts, but I will describe them as I'm doing them, and you will see the results on the screen. For example, if I wanted to open Windows Explorer, I could double-click my computer. Alternatively, I can press Windows key E. I will have opened Windows Explorer through double-clicking my computer or pressing Windows key E. Notice that they are the same. Again, Windows key E opens Windows Explorer. Note also that if I resize this window like so, if I close the window now and then open it again, it appears in the same manner. Let me do that one more time. I'll resize the window such that it is clearly in a not very useful position, but it will emphasize this point. I will close it. Windows key E, it opens in the same position. What purpose does this serve? It allows us to open multiple windows and align them appropriately. We can choose how and where our windows will be aligned. There are other ways to do it. We'll address that in the next video, but realize you can drag and resize the window in a variety of ways. Alright, Windows Explorer, Windows key E. When I say Windows key E, I mean just hold down the Windows key and then tap the letter E on your keyboard, and sure enough it will appear. If I hold down the Windows key and tap the letter E once, twice, 3 times, it will happen 3 times. Sure enough, I could do it 4, 5, or 6 more, but I believe you completely understand that, so we'll just let it be as Windows key E. Now, once we're in Windows, I will again navigate as normal. On the left hand side, view the contents on the right. I can select all by dragging a box around the files, or I can hold the Control key down and select various files. They may or may not be in order, but I can select files as I wish. Note here I could just say Control A and I will select everything in the inventory folder. Again, Control A selects everything. One more time. I can choose all the files in this folder by pressing Control A. I will point out that should we have other files and folders, like in the data location, you'll recall that we have several folders in here. If I press Control A, I will select all of the folders, in addition to the files within them. So if I were to want to cut these files out of here or move them, I could say Control X. You'll note that they turn to a faded color. That's letting us know that they have some action to perform. They are currently selected for some purpose. I had pressed Control and the letter X, which means to cut. So I will cut the contents of the data folder out from there, and I will go and paste them into region. I will press Control V, which means to paste. Alternatively, I could have said right click and paste. Paste is no longer highlighted because I have already pasted the folders, realizing of course that the contents of the folders are also cut and copied and pasted as we move along. An interesting feature: when you're in Windows Explorer, there's an interesting feature that says I may have screwed up, and to make our life a little easier, we have the Control Z option. Control Z tells Windows Explorer to undo the last thing we did. In my case, I copied some content into region. I copied that content from data, but it's back in data now. Because why? I pressed Control Z. So I will select the contents here, Control A, Control X. I will then navigate using my mouse over to region, and click on the right hand side, and now I can press Control V. There's my content. If I press Control Z, it will put it back. So we have Control C as copy, which we didn't do yet. We have Control X as cut or move. And we have Control V, which is paste. We have Windows key E, which opens Windows Explorer. Alright, let's check out this Control C. I'm going to go back to the data folder. In here I will press Control A and Control C. That will select, Control A select all, and Control C copy, not cut. I'll then move down to the left hand side here, and I will pick region again. I will click on the right hand side and I'll press Control V. I now have a copy of everything that was in data, but it is in region. Control X cuts it or moves it. Control C copies it. Control V pastes it or inserts it into a location. Windows key E opens Windows Explorer. Control A selects the items in the active area. Now you see, we also have to realize over time we will have several windows open. For example, if I opened a couple more Windows Explorers, a couple more Windows Explorer windows, we have this issue of where the heck are my files and my folders? Well, how can we control the clarity of our desktop? We may need to have the desktop shown to us so we can gather our bearings. Windows key D will display our desktop to us. Windows key D takes command of the desktop and puts everything on the taskbar. We can then select one at a time, realizing of course that if I click on Drive C, that will be what shows up. If I clicked on or selected data and then I minimize it, it will show up as data or my computer or region. The point being, if I press Windows key D, I can now easily on my taskbar have some clarity for navigating through the available open windows. There is another way to navigate through the windows. Tab. If I hold the Alt key down and press Tab, you will see a little box appear in the middle of the screen. If I press Tab again, it will move to the next opened window and the next open window, and I can just keep pressing Tab to toggle through the available items. When I decide where I want to be, I let go and that window opens. Realizing here that a window is open but on a taskbar. You see, the program Windows Explorer is running right now. It is just put on our taskbar for temporary keeping. Alright, what do we have left? We have Control S. We need to save something. Well, to do that, to see the effects of saving something, let's open a file. January 1 has no content. I'll put some content in here. There it is. There's some content. I'm going to save this file now. I'm just going to click Close. Windows is smart enough to say, hey, you've made a change that I haven't saved. Do you want me to save it? Sure, I can say yes, I'll save it. But you see, if I put more content in here, and I spell it correctly, that helps too. If I put more content, I can press Control S. Now when I close it, it closes without asking me if I wanted to save it. That is because I pressed Control S. In other words, I have a keyboard shortcut to saving my content regularly, quickly, and easily without having to hunt through the file system. File, save as, picking the location. I don't have to do that. I can just say Control S. And it will save to the last location in which this file was saved. In my case, in a folder called January, in a folder called Data, on the drive C. That was Control X, cut, Control C, copy, Control V, paste, Windows key E for open Windows Explorer, Windows key D to show me the desktop, Control S to save, Control A to select all, and of course Alt Tab to move between the various items that you have open. And that concludes Windows shortcuts.